1650 PWAM, 1650 Pro Wrestling and more. What up, folks? I'm Joe White. This is a little bit of a pillar to post episode, I guess you could call it. Got a little thing I wanted to talk to you guys today about. I swear, I'm sorry. There's this buzzing in my head. I can't get rid of it. Hold on. There we go. There is this article floating around. It's been floating around since June. Here we are in August, and people keep talking about this article. So I thought I'd go ahead and talk about the article a little bit. And the thing about this article that strikes me is not only is it, WWE related, but it is also, kind of, I guess, sports related. This article comes from the Sports Business Journal. It's called Going Gray. Sports TV viewers skew older. Study. Nearly all sports see quick rise in average age of TV viewers as younger fans shift to digital platforms. It's written by a guy named John Lombardo and David Burton. Basically, this article talks about the average WWE viewer, or average sports viewer. UFC. The median age, the middle age, and this is ranked by biggest change in the last 10 years. So this is 2006 through 2016. And this is according to Nielsen. The average age of a UFC fan, 49 years of age. That's in 15 years, or in 10 years, that age has jumped up 15%. The NFL, I know what people are saying, all that NFL, the king of sports, football, they've gone up by, the average age of that is 50. Now, a lot of people are, I talk about NASCAR here on the show. The average age of TV viewers in NASCAR in 2016, 58. That's jumped up by 9 years since 2006. So the average age of a NASCAR viewer 10 years ago was 49. This article does go on to mention a lot of sports here. I don't know if they mentioned WWE. I'm scanning through it now. I haven't had a big chance to read all of it. In fact, it really doesn't mention WWE at all here in this article. Aging faster than the general population. This is looking at it by market. I mean, it's in the 30s and 40s, but it has gone up. Median age of primetime viewers. You're looking at the big network here, the big four. Let's just take Fox here. 2017, the average age of a primetime viewer for Fox was 40. Now it's 51, 10 years later. And this is 2017 numbers. But the average age of a WWE viewer is I think 55 now. I'm wondering where they're getting this information from now, because the changes in youth viewership. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Series, there's been a 5% change. They don't really mention professional wrestling here on this. But I will tell you that it is, it is telling. It is telling. And I wonder, people talk about WWE and, WWE having a viewership here. Yeah, and then I see this comment that's put out by it was put out by Conrad Thompson. Talking about this the other day, and I even made mention of it here, and he's kind of right. But then when I look at the instructions from Nielsen, he's wrong. He said Nielsen kids aren't filling out Nielsen diaries. So I thought we'd take a look at the Nielsen diary. Let's take a look at a Nielsen diary, folks. This comes from Nielsen's website. I'll show it to you. Take a look with me. tvdiary.nielsen.com. Instructions for completing your TV diary. And now this is assuming that everybody's going to do this correctly and follow this to the letter. Step 1. Answer questions about your household. Now these are the questions. How many TV sets are in your home? How many TV sets are in working order? Is this TV connected to a cable or TV service? Is it connected to a satellite service? Does this TV receive local broadcast stations through your local TV package, satellite package? Does this TV receive any channels that may be offered for extra monthly fees like HBO? What is this person's race? Including yourself, is anyone living in your home a principal owner or employee of a television station or network, a radio station or network, cable system or network, satellite system or network, or satellite system provider? How many members of your household are each of the following age groups? Step 2. List the channels that you receive. For each TV in your household, please attach a list or write a list right in the local channels. So these are for local channels here. Then, who watches TV in your home? Here's where it gets interesting, folks. Here's where it gets interesting, because you see this right here that I've highlighted. You see this? First name. George, Jane, Tom, Maria, visitor. Their age. It wants their age. 5, 10, 42, 31, 36. Gender, male or female. Hours that you're working per week. Step 4, record the TV viewing. They want it measured by quarter hour. They want to know if the TV's on or off. They want to know the station. They want to know the channel number. They want to know the name of the program. And then they want to know who's watching. So you can go to this. Tom is 10 years old. Tom was watching the Children's Spotlight from straight through the 5 o'clock hour. Then Mom and Dad got the TV and went to the news. See, Mom and Dad are 36 and 31. Then they had a visitor come over and watch the news with them as well. It looks like right here. See if I can zoom in on this for you. But yeah, they want your age. And if you're filling out the fucking diary correctly, the kids don't have to fill it out. Of course a 5-year-old kid, 10-year-old kid's not going to bother to... It's like homework for them. But the parents do it for you. So when somebody tells me the average age of the person watching WWE is 50 just based off Nielsen ratings, if you think that's false, and you're going to give me the whole deal of, they're not filling out Nielsen diaries properly. They're not filling them out. Kids aren't filling out Nielsen diaries. Well, that means the parents are not filling them out correctly then. Yeah, Junior's watching WWE, but we're not going to put that in the diary. We're embarrassed to tell Nielsen we're wrestling fans. And they want it done by quarter hour. Indicating if the set's on and off. Recording your channel. Include the name of the program. They want to know whether or not it's on a VCR or not. They want to know if you're watching via DVR or not. Then you just return your diary. Nielsen gives you $1. They still do it this way. They also have an app too. You can make $50 a year if you do it on your app. You download the Nielsen app, you register, $50. You do the Nielsen Diary, I think they paid you $5 to record this. It used to be back in the day. They did the diaries, yes, but it used to be back in the day that Nielsen would come and install an extra special box in your home that recorded it. They didn't go by demographic or age group or whatever. My point to all this, though, is if the average age of a WWE fan or even GFW fan is in their mid-50s, I'll even go broader than that. I'll go, the average age of when I was growing up, the average age, they look to hit 18 to 34-year-old males. Now, the average age of that is now, back then, they wanted to target 12 and 13-year-olds, horny-ass teenagers, the horny-year-old boys, the hormones raging. That's what they wanted to and they did that. They got me. During the Attitude Era, I was a teenager. They got me. But they were really targeting in the Jerry Springer 18 to 34-year-old males. That's what they were looking for. So what does this data tell you? What does this data tell you? It tells me that the kids want to go to a live event. Because, yay, it's wrestling. We want to get out of the house. Mommy and Daddy, take me to the event. Yay, I want to see John Cena. Yay. Or it tells me, and then when little Johnny goes home, he's not watching the actual product. He knows it's there. I'll put it to you this way. School time's coming, man. My kids start school in 2 weeks. My 8-year-old son, Monday night, about 9 o'clock, he's going to be in the bed. He's not watching that to the last 2 hours of that show. But it proves a couple of things here. One, either parents ain't filling out their Nielsen diaries right. Or two, as much as they want to try to bring in these kids, as much as they want to try to bring in all these little kids and, here's what I think. Here's what I think. A lot of people are saying the kids are dragging the moms and dads. I think it's the other way around, kind of. I think it's our Attitude-esque audience, us, who are now having these kids, like myself. I got an 8-year-old kid. I put wrestling on because I used to watch wrestling. And he grew up a liking for it over time because he doesn't have control over the TV. Or you know what'll happen now that he does have his own TV? Let me tell you what my son does. I don't need a fucking diary to tell you what my son's watching. 8-year-old kid. He likes Raw. He'll watch Raw. But if it's on there something like he don't like the Kurt Angle segment or whatever, like, Kurt Angle is going to roll out Jason Jordan or whatever. If it's a segment like that he thinks is stupid and doesn't interest him, click, he changes the channel. He goes and watches SpongeBob or Disney or whatever they're putting on. When I was growing up, when I was his age, man, I didn't have a fucking TV in my room. I had a TV. I had a Nintendo, though. I didn't have cable. I was one of those welfare families that didn't fucking get cable until he was all grown up, really. You know how I kept up with WWE when I was really a kid? Shotgun Saturday night. And that was it. Or if the parents had to leave, like if the parents wanted to go somewhere on a Sunday and left me at home, I'd watch Live Hour or Superstars on USA. Sunday Night Heat, occasionally. But my son now, he's 8 years old. He likes it. If he comes a segment on that he doesn't like, click. 8-year-olds are doing this. My son has not once has mentioned the Kurt Angle son gimmick. Not once. They booked that segment for us 20 and 30-year-olds, hoping that we would like it. Goddamn, pal. Just like Jerry Springer. The problem is, let me tell you something, Vince. Vince, get close. Let me tell you something, Vince. Jerry Springer has not been relevant for about 20 years. Just throwing that out there. Yes, his show's still on the air, but he hasn't been relevant for 20 years. So here's what you could take away from this. The average age of the person watching wrestling was 18 to 34. And I'll do the math. I'll pull the calculator up on screen if you want me to. Let's pull the calculator up on screen. That way people know that I'm doing the math correctly. Heaven forbid we want people to, oh, Joe's using a calculator. We're going to get those anyway. Won't let me show the calculator. Fucking OBS. OBS wouldn't let me do the calculator, but let's just do it this way. You guys can add on your own. 18 to 34. So 34 minus 18. It's about a 16-year gap. 18, 28. About 16, 17-year gap there. So if you were 17 in the year 2001, okay, it's now 16 years later. Oh, look at that, 33. You're now at the target age. But if you were 33 in 2001, add 16, 17 years to that, you're 50. So what does that tell everybody? It tells me a couple things. It tells me that the people who are my age, who used to watch, stopped watching. So the people in the younger demographic, the demographic that they're trying to target now, stopped watching. Why? Because your fucking product got stupid as fuck. If you were to ask somebody about 10 years ago why you do not watch professional wrestling anymore, you know what their common answer was? Why they do not watch professional wrestling anymore? And I asked people this. Because when people find out I'm a professional wrestling fan, that fake shit. You watch wrestling, you nerd. But I ask, why don't you watch anymore? And the top two answers I get is, it's fake. We got UFC now. Or, I used to watch, but I don't anymore. Why don't you anymore? Well, it was really good when you had Rock and Austin, and over at WCW you had Goldberg and everything like that, and then all of a sudden they merged the two companies and it just became one big cluster, so I lost interest in it. So this tells you, A, the fans have grown up. Your hardcore audience is now grown up. And that's who's still watching, people like me, between the ages of 30 and 55 now. That 18 to 34 has now become, like, say, 30 to 55. But now here's the kicker to this. The people who have stayed loyal to Vince, the people like me who kept watching, we're now going to alienate them too and smack them around. We're now going to, as Vince McMahon would say, open their mouths wide and have them take a piss in it. I get it, Vince. I get it, Vince McMahon. You don't want to be wrestling. You don't want to have any... If it was Vince McMahon and he could find another, if WWE tomorrow could change their name again, they'd be World Sports Entertainment. They'd be WSE. If Vince could get by without running the company, without being... You know what the problem with Vince is? He's stuck. He bought Daddy's company, it got over, and now he's stuck. Why the fuck do you think he's getting into the movie division? In the movies? Because he's trying to be more than what he really is. He always has hated the fact that he's pro wrestling. He can't stand it. Yes, it makes him money. He's a billionaire. Sometimes, depends on what day it is because of it. But at the end of the day, Vince McMahon, for all better purposes, He can sleep as the enemy. Vince works harder than anybody in the business. He gets 3 hours of sleep a night if he's lucky, and he's always working. Heaven forbid you should fall asleep on a plane because you're not working. Vince, work. Vince is a workaholic. He loves the business. For all that talk and for all that, Vince is embarrassed to be in this business. Vince hates this fucking business. Vince hates the fact that he's in the wrestling business. Hates it. And Kevin Dunn, the director, producer, whatever you want to call him, is right there with him. If Kevin Dunn tomorrow could get rid of the ring, he would. If Kevin Dunn could do, I guarantee you, Kevin's the same way. He hates the fact that it's wrestling, but it pays the bills and has been working out okay so far, so why not? And the fact that, part of me just looks at him and goes, suck it up. You're a promoter. You're a wrestling promoter. If you didn't want to be wrestling, why'd you buy your dad's company? Well, goddamn, pal, I saw it as just being, instead of wrestling, I wanted to make it global. And you did that. At the end of the day, though, it's still professional wrestling, Vince. And this crap of PG and this crap of catering to kids. I told you guys, I've been saying it since day one that this network launched back in February. Back when we were the Cool Truth Podcasting Network. I've been saying it. They need to be, yes, they need to bring in newer viewers, but at the same time, they need to not alienate the hardcore fans. And then I look at the Raw ratings this week. And they're down again. SmackDown viewership, I don't know what that was yesterday. I don't even think the SmackDown viewership came up. Yeah, it did. It's down slightly. They only lost about maybe 10,000, viewers. But they're still losing 10,000 viewers. They're not retaining it. Yes, I know it's summer. People aren't stuck inside watching wrestling. Yes, I know football is going to start up in the fall, and that's going to hamper them on Monday nights. It's no excuse for, the Attitude Era when they were beating football each and every week. Well, Joey really didn't come off as fake then. Vince McMahon, before the Attitude Era even kicked off, Vince McMahon cut a promo on TV telling you, we're sick and tired of you feeling that you've had your intelligence insulted. We're like Ally McBeal in episodes of Days of Our Lives. So I think that, now here it is. Your hardcore audience is leaving you in droves. Sorry, I was answering a text from Jeff Edwards. So, so your audience, your hardcore audience who has kept with you and stuck with you, like myself, again, you like that sports team through the rotten years. Well, you liked it, and as Bruce Mitchell pointed out on the after show that I did last night, it's not the team, it's the league. So now people are turning their backs, we've liked the league through the rotten years. But guess what? The league has had a couple of rotten decades. And now we're leaving the league. People like me, people like Jeff are leaving the league. We don't want to watch this league anymore. We'd rather watch the CWF League or the New Japan League or the Ring of Honor League even. So now your hardcore audience is leaving. There's people ages, 50 or whatever are going to watch because they're always going to watch as wrestling is in the title. I firmly believe Raw will never get a below a 1.0. But now you're not drawing in any of these little kids either. Either that or, like I said, their mothers aren't filling out the Nielsen diary properly. So what's going to happen when you can't get in new fans and yet your product's so shitty that the older fans are finally, like me, finally fucking leaving you? You have nothing left. You have that small 1.0 who is always going to watch wrestling as long as wrestling is in the title. Those small 1.0 who are made up of wrestling opinionists, wrestling website writers. It's scary. It's very, very scary. NASCAR is going through the same thing right now. Their hardcore audience, like I just said, 55 years old, 60 years old. What's going to happen when they start dying off and you can't get kids to come in? What's going to happen when wrestling fans die off and you can't get new fans to come in? The business itself is going to die. And maybe it needs to. Maybe WWE needs to go out of business. I'm not saying that they ever will because I'm sorry, it's just not going to happen. We can hope. And I know people are going to go, well, Joe, that's not what they need because if they die, the whole business dies. Hey, WWE went out of business. Why should we watch any wrestling at all? That's because, but the thing is, in 2017, with all these different outlets like New Japan, Ring of Honor, the Wrestle Circus promotion, What Culture Pro Wrestling, CWF. They've shown you that there's more out there than WWE. It's not like your local electric company, guys. It used to be that way. It very much used to be. Your electric company, there was only one in town. You couldn't switch to anybody else. Or electric company's bad thing. Use your grocery store. The A&P has been there for 30 years. Then you had the Stop and Shop come along, but the Stop and Shop ended up not, they went well for a while. They kicked the A&P's ass. They kicked the A&P's ass for a little while, but then A&P came back. They won the trust of the people again, and they bought the Stop and Shop. So now they closed down the Stop and Shop, and now the A&P is the only grocery store in town. But guess what happened? People started leaving the town. People started venturing outside of their cozy little worlds. The world opened up. And now 2 towns over, in Hoboken or Paducah, there's the Food Line and the Winn-Dixie. Then the Walmart, then the A&P sold out to Walmart and now has become a Walmart. So now you got Walmart, which is the WWE. People still flock to the Walmart. But they don't realize also that there's other grocery stores out there too that you can go to where the aisles aren't as crowded. People working there are actually competent. They have a better selection. The food is better. And sometimes, like in the case of CWF, the product's cheaper, or in the case of CWF, it's free. And the grocery stores are all going to put out weekly specials. Oh, if you join us, I can see this happening. Join us, you get a month free. Buy one, get one free. This week we have a special on this. This week we have a special on that. It'll never get to that point, but there have been talks now for the last year of WWE offering tiered services for their network. I hope I'm making sense here. Because this is just coming up off the cuff. But to me, the grocery store analogy is the best thing I could come up with, you know? Used to be that you would never dream of going cross country to see a wrestling show. You had WWE, that was all you needed. If you're lucky, Indie Promotion X was putting on their TV on cable access every week, but that was about it. That's WWE and WCW were all you needed. Well, guess what? It's 2017. Now we can drive places. Now we can fly places. Now we don't even have to drive or fly. We can do a push of a button and watch whatever we want now. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time here. I'm sitting here researching this whole, Nielsen Diaries, and the kids aren't filling out Nielsen Diaries. Well, then that means the parents aren't filling out Nielsen Diaries is right, or the Nielsen Diaries, the Nielsen Diaries are lies. They don't put the ages of the kids in there. If you're not filling it out right, don't have it. I'm begging you. Hey, people who are Nielsen families, if your kids are watching WWE, please change the tell us that your kids are watching it. That's your job if you want to do this Nielsen thing. I couldn't do the Nielsen thing. I got one TV down here that I could watch Netflix on, because they are going to start tracking Netflix and Hulu now. I got 4 TVs upstairs and 1 TV downstairs. So that's 5, 6 TVs in my house. It's crazy, man. I couldn't do the Nielsen thing. But I do know this. If I did do the Nielsen Diary, I'd put my son's age. He's 8. And little Joe's watching Raw on Monday nights. Dad, the 50-year-old, or the 30-year-old, the ones that you were going after before, and still should be going after now, Dad's not watching anymore. Dad's popping in Netflix and seeing what's new on there. It's pretty sad. They're alienating. I've said it again. They need to be focusing on this hardcore audience. It's okay to try to get new listeners and market towards kids, but don't alienate your hardcore audience. There's a way that you can do PG and still make it relevant to the heart, to the damn, my kid, every time there's blood, he flips out. He loves it. This crap of no blood, it's PG, no blood. Blood capsules only, and only when we say so. I like it. It makes it mean more. But it's just, I don't know. I know I'm rambling on too long here, but again, we are now the 18 to 34-year-old demographic that they were targeting 10, 20 years ago. The 50-year-olds who were watching, who were that 18 to 34 demographic that they were targeting, are now 50, and they're still watching. So let's alienate them. Let's get them to stop watching because, their kids are going to watch. The problem is they're not. They're not watching. They're going to the live events, but that doesn't mean shit. The WWE is not really, at the end of the day, it's a television show about wrestling, not filming a wrestling show. There's a big difference there. My cousin Charlie, the Raging Redneck, who used to do the show with me back when we first started, went to his first WWE event like 06, 07 maybe. First thing he said to me, when you go there and you're there in person, it feels like a wrestling show. And he liked it. TV, it doesn't feel like a wrestling show. Here's a novel concept, WWE. Maybe you should make it feel like you're actually there. That's why we watch, right? To make it feel like we're actually there. It's part of the reason why we watch is because we want to be there. We want to see what's happening there. Why do you watch a football game on TV? Because you can't be there live. Duh. Anyway, I'm going to get off here for the day. I've annoyed you enough for 36 minutes, I think. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you down the road.